Hello, 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 and welcome to post-draft power rankings for season 10 of the UPL. I'm here with my good friend Zicofool.
Hello, I'm
Hello.
excited.
Hello. I'm also
Oh
excited.
wow.
So let's get right into it. So we're gonna be doing it a bit casually. We're just gonna be going down the list, and at the end, we'll probably give you a number ranking, a numerical ranking. But Zico here is gonna give you her four categories if you want to go through that.
Yes, each team I gave a 10 out of 10 score to four things. Versatility, which is basically how many different sets you can run, like how many options you have. Like the less predictable you are, the better. Weaknesses, which is kind of just a probably the most standard score most people would give, like how good you are at hazard control and removal, how weak are you on certain types, how good is your offenses, etc. Pain, which is how hard are you to team build against, how much do I look at your team and groan at the fact that I have to fight it.
Feel
And of
physical pain.
course, yes, feel physical pain pretty much. How much genuine discomfort does your team cause?
I love it.
And of course, the most important category, style.
Yes.
Self-explanatory.
Agree. All right. So hey, guess who we're leading off with because you're number one
Oh,
on the
right, it's
order
me.
list. All right.
I'm finally at the front.
Do you since it's your team, do you want to talk about it first, and then I can give my thoughts, and then or how do you want to
Yeah.
handle each other's teams? I guess.
Um.
Or,
How about actually you lead, and I'll kind of follow up with a general idea of what I was thinking with it. I
sure.
guess I don't really have
Yeah.
too many secrets to hide.
Fair enough. I mean, well, I'm expecting to see that Brion every week. That's no secret.
You know it.
But yeah. Don't mind me checking my notes real quick.
No worries.
I mean, I say that, but also you can see on the screen on like, cause I, so you get to see my notes. Yeah, yeah. So, um, I think you have very good offense on this team. Like Mega Beedrill Garchomp is very, very scary on the physical side, and then Bocephalon and Sylveon and Indeedee are very scary on the special side. Regieleki, if there's no ground type, but that's an if. That's a big if. It's a big if. I mean, yeah, I want to see you use Regieleki Ball because that's a mon. That's gonna be a key mon for you, I think. Like if
Yep.
you can play around this and eliminate, because here's the other thing, right? And why I think you really would like a water that isn't Brion, because a water type would be great for getting rid of the ground types that exist. Because you don't have stab ice and your only stab grass is like chestnut, which is like it exists.
Yeah.
Um, so not having a strong answer to ground types, I think, really hurts your team overall. Um,
Yeah. Makes sense.
it doesn't hurt your team overall as much as like hurting Regieleki overall, and Regieleki is your tier 2, I think. But
Yep.
it was your second pick, so like no, it was your first pick.
Yeah,
It was your
I
first pick,
wanted
yeah.
to use
And
Regieleki for sure, and I
yeah.
could have built around it better. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean it's just like yeah. I mean I think you built around it fine with that one caveat. I I think yeah, you have good special offense, you have good physical offense, and you do have good bulk. I think Fortress is an amazing tier 4. Like that thing is like
Oh,
stupid.
yes. It
Um
was a fantastic recommendation I was given.
Thank you. And I really hope to see you use it well because I'm on because it pivots, it does everything. Articuno Galar can self recover, which is humongous for it.
Mhm.
Competitive is nice. It's like a nice like ability. And Sylveon exists if you want to run that like as a wish passer or something most weeks. And Chestnut can be pretty bulky as well. Like I think your team's overall pretty solid. Like I love the Brion pick, but like if this was Primarina, it would be like we were talking about earlier. But this is Primarina. This team would be like actually a lot scarier.
Oh, yes. Agreed.
But I think this is a solid team. You know, pretty solid. It's got everything. It's got all the tools it needs to succeed. It's just a matter of playing it. And at the end of the day, like that's all you can really ask for. And you do
Yep.
and you also do have a couple options where you absolutely have to like prepare for things. So you can't like ignore. Like you can't ignore Indeedee, you can't ignore Garchomp, you can't ignore Mega Vejo. Like your top four here, you can't ignore them, and then even like Sylveon and Bucephalon too. So like you have a lot of threats that force people in like pre-battling phase to be like, how do I beat this? And that's really good.
Yeah, I'm glad you think that because that was kind of the initial plan for the overall draft. Just a bunch of Pokemon that force my opponent's team building. Garchomp being a last pick for that, since everybody got Urshifu and Spectrier, is kind of funny that Garchomp was a lower pick on that list.
So true.
But yeah, I think I did pretty well on the offensive front. It was meant to be a very offensively intimidating team, and I'm surprised that I got as decent as a defense as I got. Should I give my own scores?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Versatility, I gave myself an 8 out of 10. I think I have a lot of options, a lot of different ways to use them. Galar, Takuno, Chestnut, Sylveon, Indeedee all have kind of defensive and offensive sets. Garchomp too. Brionne, Fortress, and Regieleki are all defensive Pokemon, but I think they have varying options in how they can be defensive. Not Regieleki. Regieleki is mainly offensive.
I can't wait to see a defensive Regieleki.
I mean, Magnet Rise and Screens. It is genuinely pretty defensive.
Let's see it.
But like actually, like when I said defensive, I meant Screens basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
I also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counting Baton Pass, 6 Pokemon that can pivot out, and 3 of them do lots of damage when they pivot out. So that's, in my opinion, very powerful.
Does Chestnut get U-turn?
No.
Oh, okay. It was Sylveon with Baton Pass.
Yeah, Sylveon with Baton Pass and Galar Takuno gets U-turn. I'm pretty sure, unless I'm mixing it up with Moltres.
No, I think you're right.
Weakness is an 8 out of 10. I think it's got a few types that it doesn't deal super well with. Ice and Dark, I feel a little bit iffy on. I have decent answers to them both, but I keep it a secret, but I know that Weavile is coming against me. I'm scared of Weavile.
Can't wait for it not to come against you now that you've said that.
Yeah, I'm prepared to over-prepare for Weavile and then be completely unprepared for everything else.
Beautiful.
Pain, I wanted to get a 10 out of 10 on Pain, but I think realistically it's closer to a 7 out of 10. Regieleki forces everyone to bring a ground type. You have to bring a ground type, and that's a little annoying, but also most people bring a ground type anyway, so it's not that annoying. Mega Beedrill and Garchomp are fairly annoying to prep against, as well as Indeedee, but I don't think I have enough versatility in how painful each of these mons is to prep against. Like Blacephalon and Indeedee both just need a dark type or Chansey/Blissey. Garchomp and Mega Beedrill both just die to are walled by any steel flying type. Well, almost any steel flying type. I guess I can run special Garchomp. Regieleki kind of works around both of those, but you just bring a ground type and that's not an issue. And finally, of course, I give myself a 10 out of 10 on style. I have Blacephalon, Sylveon, and Brionne. I love this team. I think this team is all Pokemon I like, except for, I guess, like, kind of Fortress is a little... like, I love Fortress, but it's just not in the usual style of Pokemon I like compared to everything else. This is a me team.
It is, and I think it's gonna be good. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
So should we move on to number 2?
Yes.
We have our first new coach debuting in Season 10, Goose and the Twin Leaf Turtwigs. What do you think about this team?
I think it is pretty solid, honestly. I think that I gave it a 9 for both versatility and weakness. There's not, honestly, a lot of clear weaknesses, I would say, and you have a fair number of options. Nothing feels like dead weight. The closest thing, I think, really to something that I don't see you bring super often is Camerupt, because it just overlaps with types you already have. I guess Beware to a lesser degree, but it's a solid fighting type, and Fluffy is honestly great for defensive walls. Like, honestly, everything else I think has a solid niche. The worst I can say about it that prevents it from being a 10 out of 10 on versatility is that I feel like you are super reliant on Regieleki. Not Regieleki, Registeel. I feel like Registeel is going to be brought most weeks, and that's not the worst thing in the world, but I feel like I might be overestimating how much you need Registeel, but I feel like Registeel is going to be brought most weeks, and that's a little unfortunate. because, but like, even with that aside, you have Zygarde, which is a pain. Darmanitan can be a big pain if you put a choice item or run a wild ass Zen set. I gave 8 out of 10 for pain just because, again, Zygarde, Registeel, Slowbro, you have a great defensive core that looks terrifying to fight against, but I don't know. Not a lot inspires immense fear in me.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that too, but you can share your style first if you want.
Um, I'm sorry to say that this is probably my least favorite on the style front. It's
Oof.
not bad. There's just not a lot.
Yeah.
I love all of these Pokemon stylistically. I'd say that I'm going to say that about every team, but like there's not a solid cohesive
Mhm.
vibe between them. They feel very slapped together in a way that is just it's a bunch of good mons. The most you got going on is that like this sounds really weird, but like Beware and Slowbro look like they're about to hug each other. That's
Oh
about all
my
I got.
god, that's fun. That's hilarious. I love it. Oh my god. It's funny you mentioned that if that you feel like it's just a bunch of mons, a good mon slapped together, because that's how I kind of feel about this team, like in practice, like outside of style, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, like there are some nice coverage, like pairings where Registeel's fire weakness is covered by Chandler, but they're both weak to ground, right? So I feel like this team has holes that you like. An ice type with freeze dry, and this is going to be a common theme. An ice type with freeze dry actually destroys this team because besides Registeel, and this is to your point of him having probably to bring Registeel every week, besides Registeel, all of the mons that resist ice on this team and freeze dry are frail. Darmanitan Gal is extremely frail.
oh yeah.
And Chandelure is, it's deceptively bulky, but it's not like bulky, right? Like it doesn't want to
It
come
can
in and take ice
push
beams.
into like stab or specs ice beam. Yeah.
Yeah, it can maybe, yeah, depending on the mon, it might even just get like 2 KO'd by it on
Yeah,
specs or
exactly.
something. But yeah, cause I also think it has like threats. You need a Darmanitan Galar answer. That's good. Um,
Hmm.
you need a Zygarde answer. That's good. Um, you need but then like the next scariest thing is like Chandelure. Like there's a big drop off, I think. Um, and then defensively, it's kind of just Kiss, Burrow, and Steel. But that kind of forces like Togekiss to come in defensive to be a kind of a defensive on most weeks, I think. Um,
Yeah,
and
Zygarde
like
and Beware can kind of be defensive, but they don't really want to be
yeah.
comparatively. Like Beware, I guess, kind of wants to be like full defense, but Zygarde has so many other sets that it probably likes more.
Mhm.
I'm probably the only person who would consistently be running Coil sub Zygarde.
Yeah, I mean even then it doesn't have like reliable recovery, which is like that's like the thing.
Yeah,
Beware doesn't have a reliable recovery either, and like the thing, like I think Rotom Fan is a really good like tier 5 on its own, but like I don't see what it's doing here because it kind of fulfills a similar role to like. I mean, I guess it has pivoting, which Togekiss doesn't, but like everything else about it is like the same, and like I don't know, like this team is so weird to judge because it feels like I'm looking at it and it looks strong, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, eh, right? Like there's things you have to prep for, but like if like even with my team, which I don't think is very good, like if I come into this, I'm not very I don't think I'm scared prepping for this team, which I guess kind of makes sense because you did give it a pretty low pain rating.
yeah,
I mean, hey, but like more power to you, Goose. If you prove us wrong, right? Like,
please.
yeah. So let's move on to ASDF. Um, I think this team is really good.
Yeah, it's definitely a good team. Um, when we talked about it, I think the way I put it is that the biggest weakness I saw is effectively a combination of things that makes it not the it like it's a combination of things that I think puts it that it deals with very poorly, but that combination of things has to happen. Like I think that it is a kind of defensive and switch heavy team, so hazards are good against it, but you have to kind of like remove you have to knock off all of its hazard setters are and all of its hazard setters kind of don't want to take a knockoff. So like if you can knock off the hazard setters and keep up hazards, then this team doesn't do too well. But like that's so specific of a weakness.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that when I was first looking at this team, but it's true. Um, that being said, though, like it's got an insane fire water grass core, and then even insaner fairy dragons. Like Mega Garchomp
Oh,
Aegislash. Granbull as a tier 5 is really good. Like it's based like what 130 attack and intimidate. It's like like it's
yeah,
the weakest
Granbull.
part of that core, but it's so good.
Yeah,
Um
agreed.
this team is extremely fat. Which is a very ASDF team. Like we're not really taking coach. We're not taking like coach like skill into this. This is purely just like draft like rankings, but like this really scares me coming from like his play style. I don't know, there's just like a lot of things that like nothing feels useless on this team. I guess like the one thing where I'm like I'm not sure what this is doing is like Aerodactyl, but even then it's like it shores up his speed. Because he has
Yeah,
two very fast mons now with Greninja and Aerodactyl, one on each side of the attacking spectrum. Um, and it's just like yeah, like
yeah,
it's really good.
yeah, I'm super agreed. 10 out of 10 on versatility because, like, on top of everything seen, everything has a use here. Granbull and Miltank, Aerodactyl, I think all will have great usage. Like, everything has use and a bunch of sets, but on top of all that, Mew's here. Mew alone on a team
Yup.
practically guarantees you 8 out of 10 versatility.
Yup.
Weakness was 9 out of 10 because again, the worst I can say is that you don't want to swap between rocks a lot, but like there's not a super clear way to break anything. Really, the worst score really is pain. I'm not Garchomp and Garchomp, Mew, Galar are all very scary, but they're not the scariest things in the world. Garchomp is the only thing I feel like I super prep for. Everything else is great in a vacuum, but like again, it's a hard team to prep against, but I feel like it is manageable for the most part to prep against. I'm not feeling immediately overwhelmed looking at this team and thinking I have to prep for this.
That's interesting. Because
Uh,
I feel a little different, but yeah, I mean, I think it's more like prepping
and
for the defensive side than the
that's
offensive
fair.
side.
Oh, yes, that that makes sense. I guess I might be I might need to rethink my pain scale a little bit for next time, but I've got these scores already, so oh well. And
Yeah.
of course, most importantly, 10 out of 10 on style. It's got a fantastic set of colors and like a bunch of small cutesy mons. Granbull feels weird being included in that, but the color scheme works out. Like
Fairy
Mew, Miltank,
type.
Granbull, Alola Mola, Vileplume, and then you kind of got a monster side with like Zapdos, Aerodactyl, Garchomp, and I guess kind of Greninja. Aegislash is probably the weirdest thing out of place on this team, but like I don't know. I think it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
This team's got style.
Yeah, I agree. It's cute and threatening at the same time. Yeah, so Lucky in the Minnesota Lycanroc. This is another good team. I think that this team
Yeah.
did very good counterpicking his division.
Oh yeah.
Cause like you think about it, right? Because these teams are sorted by division. Garchomp,
Mm-hmm.
Zygarde, Mega Garchomp. What Mega does he get? A Mega Altaria. And what Ice type does he get? Weavile. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Weavile is horrifying to me.
what
Like
Regenerator Mon does he get? Tornadus and a Mugus. It's like
Venomous and Amogus. He has a triple regenerator core. This is a 10 out of 10 on pain. I'm looking at. I hate this team. I hate the fact that I have to fight this team twice.
like any threat, Final Gambit Excelgor comes in. He has a Wish
Yeah.
Flareon, which is pain. Lycanroc Dusk can just come in with a band or a Life Orb and just deal a lot of damage. It relies a bit on Weavile and Lycanroc for damage, but that's like the only like I guess
Yeah.
like qualm that I have about it.
Yeah. I think I gave it a 9 out of 10 on versatility because which feels a little weird because looking at it again because I think my issue was that it felt like you know what set everything is going to run for the most part. Like there's like every Pokemon in this team has a use and that's great for the versatility, but like I feel like Manaphy and maybe like physical versus special Mega Altaria are like the only things where you're not going to see just the same set every time this Pokemon is brought. You know what I mean?
Maybe
Which
Duraludon
isn't
too. Yeah.
maybe Duraludon. I guess Reniclus. Yeah, this might have been a 10 out of 10 on versatility, but I'm gonna stick with 9 out of 10. And weaknesses an 8 out of 10. I don't actually know why. Oh, it was because it was Rock and Ice week a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
Ice you should be glad you have Weavile because Ice runs through a fair.
Well,
bit of this
Manaphy
team.
is probably better for that. And
Yeah,
Spadef
Manaphy and
Flareon
Flareon.
helps. Yeah.
Spadef, Flareon, Weavile, Manaphy, but like.
Yeah, his
That's
rock
not
ice.
the
Yeah.
best ice core, and 2 of them are weak to rocks, so you have to bring boots or something for Flareon and Weavile if the other person has a good ice type. The fact that you have Weavile as the best types is probably that alone probably should boost your weakness up to 9 on my score, but I'm sticking with the 8.
I mean, the other thing too is he has a very good removal. Tornadus T was really good, and Donphan is underrated, I think. Like.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
great removal for sure.
Oh, I guess Altaria too.
Yeah. Oh right, Altaria. I don't think that the
I don't think that's a set he's gonna run yet, but like it exists as an option.
I think it's a solid team. The fact I on principle hate any team 3 regenerator mons just because I'm bad at fighting stall, so you know.
Might just slap a Chansey on it while we're at it.
God,
Oh my god.
8 out of 10 on style. Great Pokemon, great. You know what? Frick it. I'm immediately boosting it up to 9 out of 10. I looked again. Weavile, Excelgor. Like, this team's got style.
Yeah, what's preventing it from being a 10?
It's a bunch of small, like, sets of style, like Altaria, Flareon for the fluffy stuff, Weavile, Excelgor and Lycanroc for, like, speedy agent stuff.
Yeah.
Amoonguss, Reniclus, and Duraludon for, like, weird. Honestly, they're just weird mons, which is great.
True.
And then Tornadus and Donphan are kind of odd ones out. That's about it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Oh yeah, but I think this team is going to do really well, so
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm terrified of it.
Same. I wonder how terrified we're going to be of the cute ferrets. The Mediolani Ferrets. What do you think about this one?
I'm unfortunately not the most impressed. It's got a bunch of good mons in a vacuum, but I don't know how well they all go together. Like, Cartrilla Coco is a weird 3. They're all great mons that I'd be scared of, but I'm not sure I'm scared of all 3 of them on the same team. Slowbro as a regenerator, has vague synergy with things like camera ups, I would say, and Aggron and such. But I don't know why it's on the same team as Klotzer, for instance. Like, I don't know what Klotzer does that Slowking doesn't. Like, there's weird overlap on a lot of it.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand it.
Yeah, I think, like, I mean, the biggest thing is that, like, I feel like, honestly, this might sound weird, but I think Rillaboom is better for his team. A better Tapu Koko. Like, they're both really good Tapu Koko pairs, but the ability for Rillaboom to also pivot alongside Tapu Koko is really nice. I just don't think both of these should be on the same team. I mean, they help each other out, right? Like, or at least Rillaboom helps Kartana out with grassy terrain, like, and pivoting into it, I guess. But like my issue with this team is that you have a fire type and you can instantly beat like 90% of his team.
Yeah, I did realize the one good thing about Slowking, because it's what I wanted looking for last season. I just realized he core that I wanted last season. He has Teleport, Trick Room, Mega Camera Up. That's good.
He does.
That's the only major thing that I see.
And I guess like Claude, and Aggron are like okay in Trick Room as well.
Yeah, they're good in Trick Room, but I still feel like this is going to be a reoccurring trend. I feel like there had to have been some better tier 4 than Claude's or.
Yeah, for this team, yeah. I will say that I'm looking at this team and it has very good speed tiers. And like that's like the best thing I could probably say about it.
I do think that you do, that and good speed tiers and the 3 Pokemon, even if they over best Coco, Cart, and Rillaboom, you kind of have to respect all 3 of them. They are terrifying Pokemon.
You do.
Even if they don't overlap well, all 3 combined.
Yeah. You definitely have to
7
respect
across
that.
the board on scores. 7
Yeah.
for everything.
Including style?
Yeah, including style.
Nice.
Nothing major to say about it on the style front.
Hmm.
Good mons, weird kind of. I like kind of weird monster vibes with some things. I don't know. 7 might have been too high, but I don't have anything against it. I think it looks good together. It's hard
Yeah.
to describe.
Yeah. I mean, hey, but like, yeah. I mean, like, on all fronts, you should, if you're watching this, Cactus, prove us wrong.
Please.
So yeah,
I'm prepared to die to the double to
I'm
grass
prepared.
for-
I'm prepared to die to grassy terrain boosted, beast boosted Cartanas. That's gonna be fun. But yeah,
MIDI.
MIDI in the calling Woodcurve Knights. I think this is arguably the best team in the league.
I understand that it's probably in my top 3. I don't know if it's the best. I know what I think is the best,
Yeah.
but I also am 100% biased because it's just the team that I want to fight the least.
Yep.
I think it's a great team,
Mhm.
though for sure it's definitely one of the scariest I've seen.
Yeah, like right off the bat, like Vaporeon, Ferrothorn is pain, and then you throw in Moltres on that too. It's like that. Either
That's
that,
horrifyingly hardcore to kill.
yeah, that or like Cuppa's Firewater Grass are probably the scariest Firewater Grass cores in the league, and like his Fairy Dragon Steel. I guess Ferrothorn also counts, but his Fairy Dragon Steel isn't bad either. I mean, I actually Guzzlord's pretty bad. I lied.
I will defend Guzzlord, but on its own in this core, yeah, that's not the best.
I think this is a perfect team for Lando because it can go like offensive and defensive here. Like it doesn't have to be forced in a one role. Raiku's very fast and good for this team that otherwise doesn't have a lot of speed. That's the biggest thing. Raiku's the fastest mod on this team, and I think that's if you're gonna point a weakness, it's a weakness. But then again, you have Ditto exists, and Unburdened Slurpuff also exists, so he has ways to like speed control.
Yeah. Other than setup I would feel better about Surplus speed if his only option for Surplus speed wasn't setup Surplus. Like
yeah. If he had like a terrain.
Terrain, that would be better, but
yeah.
Uh,
There is terrain in his division, so I mean, I guess like he has that going for it.
Counterpick, yeah.
Also, sticky webs, which is really good for this team.
Oh, true. Oh, that's right. Sticky
Yeah.
webs is actually really solid.
Sticky webs and Mega Metacham is, and also Nidoqueen too. That's kind of scary. Yeah. I just think this team is insane. Like it's weird because I'm looking at it right now and I'm like, it's not that bad. But I think about it and I'm like, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't know. What scores are you giving this team?
I give it a 10 for versatility. Everything has great usage. The worst I can say about it is Girder and Guzzlord. I don't see Girder coming super often. And
Yeah.
I love Guzzlord, and I want to see it used really bad, and I think that if there was ever a team that could use it well, it was this. But, like, it feels like those two feel like the things that are going to be left behind, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's unfortunate. 10 out of 10 for Pain. Because, as previously mentioned, the Firewater Grass core is horrifying. And also, Mega Metacham and Ditto just put so much team building pressure. Like, you can't bring setup consistently, and Mega Metacham is just such a... Pure power is always just a threat on any Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And then Surplus for speed control and setup sets is intimidating, honestly. And then Lando on top of everything.
More intimidating.
Yeah. The worst thing I can say about it is that it kind of, like, when you look at its types, I'm a little underwhelmed. Like, ice, salt, there's very few solid ice types offensively, but, like, something like Weavile would go fairly solidly through a fair portion of this team. Qrem Freeze Dry hits an Ice Beam, destroys a bunch of the team, like, very weak to ice. Or not super weak to ice, but it's not the happiest about a solid ice type Pokemon, but it's ice type.
Well, I mean, I think like Weavile, like how does Weavile beat Moltres or Vaporeon?
I have to assume that I realize that it doesn't want to really run this over triple axle, but I have to assume that like banned Icicle Crash 2-shots Moltres. I could be wrong.
Fizz Def
Moltres.
Moltres. You want to know a fun fact? Lycanroc Dusk doesn't even kill like Moltres with Accelerock, so yeah.
Oh, maybe not then. Ow, that is
Yeah, Moltres is
unfortunate.
pretty bulky. It's like 90, like 100 or something. I don't know. It's like pretty good.
All right, I could be proven wrong on that then. Maybe I gave it a 7.5 on weakness. That might have been too. I might have should have just given it the solid
I
8.
mean, I think like the thing is like if MIDI doesn't bring all three of the Firewater Grass Core, then yeah, some of the weaknesses might be compounded, but like these three Pokemon just work so well together. It's really insane. That like that
Mhm.
alone, like I might be overrating it because I am looking at it now and I'm agreeing with you. Like Girder and Guzzlord kind of feel like whatever here. Like I
But
don't really,
even with that, like
yeah,
the rest of the 9 are so good. Who cares?
yeah. I don't like Nidoqueen as a value pick in tier two though. I think it's I'm not sure if I like that like
If
in a
I'm,
vacuum, but yeah.
yeah, I think that as the way I would put it is, if you didn't remind me it was a tier 2, I probably would have just assumed it was a tier 3 and been like, yeah, Nidoqueen's great here. But
Yeah.
reminding me it's a tier 2, it's like, yeah,
There
you
might have
probably
been there
wish
might have been something.
you might have wished you could have grabbed a Nidoking. Is all I'll say. But
Yeah.
and maybe but this is all everybody debates this. I don't care that much, honestly. You know on Nidoqueen, Nidoking tiers, I
Right.
don't
Yeah,
care
yeah,
that
yeah.
much really. 8.5 out for style. Good monster vibes, good cute things vibes. Girder
Mhm.
is here.
Girder is here.
Girder is here. I don't care about
Oh my
Girder. Nobody
god.
cares.
Nobody cares
I,
about Girder. Tier.
I like Girder, but it's like I don't know what's it doing here. What's it doing here? I guess it works with Ferrothorn somehow. I don't know,
Somehow.
but like Gus Lord, Nidoqueen, Landorus T, in my opinion, good
Mhm.
monster vibes, good
For
cute
sure.
vibes with the birds and Vaporeon. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, I agree. All right, you had things to say about the Bronx Blastoise and Bucks team, so let's hear them.
This is one of my least favorite teams.
Oh no.
It's not awful, but it feels super underwhelming. Like, Gliscor is going to come every week, realistically. It is his only rock setter.
Pretty
It's
much.
his physical defensive set. It's it. I don't understand why every team is weak to ice. Every other team is weak to ice. This
Oh my god.
ice. I don't get it. I don't get what's
That's
going on.
funny.
Like he has Arcanine and Doublade and 2 water types if you don't have freeze
I mean,
dry.
like
Obviously,
Florges can
everything.
pretty easily switch into like any special move.
Yeah,
That isn't
I
super
might be
effective.
overstating how good freeze dry is. Freeze dry is just such a pain for
Yeah.
when you're relying on
You want a
water for
bulky
your
water?
resist.
You just need a bulky water ice type. That's
Yeah,
it.
pretty much. I think it's a solid team for sure. Still, it's
Hmm.
7 across the board, other than style, which I gave an 8. Uh, I just like the Pokemon on this team. I'll be blunt. Lantern, Flygon, Megalopunny, frick, what was the other one? Doublade and Florges are all Pokemon I just like, so I'm a little biased.
Fair enough. I don't know. Like I don't like the Kadabra pick at all. I'll just say that. Like its stats
Oh
are
yeah,
pretty good for tier 5, but like I would never draft it. I think there are better things you could pick. And if you really wanted a psychic type like I don't know. Like I guess it like helps him weirdly enough it helps him out with his speed tiers, right? Cuz Megalopunny
yeah,
would have been his only thing above 100 speed. Um I I think this team is actually pretty good defensively. I'll say that. Like Lantern, Florges, Glysaur, Doublade, Drapeon's definitely sneakily bulky. On the physical side. Like this team has good defense. I think. Like specifically Glysaur, Rotom Wash, Florges. Like those three together are. I'm not looking forward to that.
Arcanine too. Arcanine's great defensively.
Yeah.
Drapion to a lesser degree, depending on your team. Both
Hmm.
are very good niche defensive options.
Yes.
Doubly too, I guess,
Yeah.
along that. Yeah, it's definitely great defensively. But like the only 2 Pokemon that I look at this team and I'm thinking like, what the frick? I have to be ready for these Pokemon are
Megalopunny and
and Gliscor.
True. I think I would probably throw in Tapu Bulu as a third, but yeah, like a
Yeah,
distant third. I I think now that I'm looking at this, I think if like Bucks picked up an Unburden user or something, cause like his
yeah,
lacking speed tiers, like, cause I know like most of them are probably gone, but there's got to be some unburdened user that's still there. And like, I would probably try to like, Flygon's a tier 4 in this league, so I think it's a bit better than when I picked it as a tier 3. But like,
Drift Blimp,
uh,
Lipard, Feval
yeah,
are your options
Drift
for
Blim,
Unburden.
Drift Blim over Doublade, because that also probably saves you points, right?
Probably.
I would do that. I would do that if I was
He
this
has,
team.
he has 23 points too, so that'd be
Upgrade
fun.
Kadabra to a tier 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you already have a tier
No,
5,
yeah,
right?
actually,
Because
that would
Lantern's a
go
tier
all the way
5,
to
right?
tier 3. That would go all the way to tier 3.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I
Because
mean,
he has
yeah.
23 points.
Oh, 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 oh. Beat us.
So I guess it depends on what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Point being, I'm agreed. I think that honestly, I think Drift Blimp would be pretty solid.
Mhm.
Instead
Yeah.
of Doublade, but I don't know if he could drop his steel type that effectively
Yeah.
steel
You
here.
would
I
need to
don't know.
probably grab like something else, a different steel and a different tier, and there might not be very many good options left. I do think that like this team is very scary in a bulky sense, and I like that about this team. But I'm looking at it, and it relies on Megalopunny for so much damage. Like I think this team a lot of weeks just wants to like sit back and like toxic stall you to death and like keep on
Yeah.
switching with like U-turn, Volt Switch, Teleport.
Yep.
Like it just just wants to like keep pivoting and wearing you down until like Lopunny can come in and kill. Like that's the game plan most weeks. So if you can find a way to beat that, then you're good. But yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so let's move on to Pulse's team, the ASU Merrills. I hope I pronounced
Yes.
that right, but yeah, what do you think about this team?
We differed in opinions, and you kind of
Yep.
convinced me that it's not as good as I initially thought. I still think it's really good. I gave it a solid 9 in the pain scale, for the very reasons, for pretty much the same reasons I dropped down my other 2 scores from my initial scores. Mega Mawile, Latios, Tangrowth, Heatran, Blissey. I hate those 5 Pokemon in the same
Yes.
sentence. Everything else feels a little weird. Like I still defend most of these Pokemon, but I've come around. It feels a little weird. Rotom versus Tangrowth is here is a little weird overlap. Blaziken and Pangoro, I don't know how much. I feel like they're another thing where I feel like there had to have been another tier 4 that was more use. Ariados and Shed Ninja, both bug types. I like Ariados for webs because I think this team is a little on the slow side and webs helps a lot. And Shed Ninja, Shed Ninja. Shed Ninja is always, honestly, I think a great draft pick, but it's super niche on how useful it's going to be.
Mhm.
Swampert is just the middle tier Pokemon. It's like a big drop off from the other 5, but it's still pretty solid. Flip turn, rocks, etc. It feels like it's going to be a little predictable, so 7. Now it's a 7 out of 10 on versatility, and a 6 out of 10 on weakness, because again, there's a lot of type overlap here.
Yeah. That was definitely my biggest complaint about this team, where it's like I feel like the 5 you mentioned, Mega Maw, Latios, Tangrowth, Heatran and Blissey, like Tangrowth and Blissey together are insane. I hate that. I hate it.
Oh, absolutely. Least favorite thing.
I had a team with Megamon and Heatran on the same team. Like that's scary too. Um, and Latios is obviously can do a bunch of different things. It's a very good mon. But those are the only 5 Pokemon on this team I respect. I don't even respect Shedinja, and that's not because I have Quad Weather. It's like I'm gonna be bringing a Fire type move anyways. I'm gonna be bringing a Dark type move anyways. It's like I don't know. I think Rotom at least has like some use on this team just because it can pivot and like set Will-O-Wisp and stuff. But like, I'd rather have Charge-a-Bug probably over Ariados if I wanted webs. Don't get me wrong,
Oh,
I
yeah,
love
I forgot
Ariados,
about
but
that.
like I don't know, like I'd
It's not
rather
the
have
best stat-wise.
yeah. I mean yeah, it depends. I think Charge-a-Bug does get recovery though, which makes it like usable. Or I might be thinking of Dottler. I don't know.
You're thinking of
I'd
Dottler,
rather have
but
Dottler.
Charjabug has pivoting and also Eviolite for better
Doesn't
defenses than
Charge-a-Bug just have like a
Charjabug.
better attack stat too?
Probably. It has a good attack stat. I don't know if it's
I think
better, but
Ariados is 90. Yeah.
probably about the same then. I
Well,
don't
here's
think
the
it's
thing.
over.
I'm pretty sure Pangoro and Blaziken are in the same tier. I don't understand why
Oh
you'd
yeah,
pick
they
both of
are.
them. I'd take Blaziken on this team 10 out of 10 times. I don't like drop Pangoro for something. I don't know. Like this team needs a mon that like a 6 mon that you have to respect because it's a very good fire, water, grass, and then a very good fairy, dragon, steel. But that's it. Like that's it. Like Shedinja exists and like webs exist, but then you're bringing a Riedos over like something else, and it's like, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I love the top of this team, I really do, but everything else, like maybe I'm tunneling too hard, but everything else is just like, why is this here? And hopefully Pulsey proves us wrong, because like, or at least me wrong, because I'm pretty hard on this team, but
Yeah, 9 out of 10 on style. Fantastic colors, like reds, pinks,
mhm.
blues, a little bit of black and white. Ninja's probably the weirdest like outlier, but I don't really care about it outlining too much. Like everything else is just looks so nice together color wise.
For sure.
9 out of 10.
I like this team stylistically too. But yeah, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Is it time?
It's my turn.
All
Says
right.
every JRPG protagonist ever.
Shall I go then?
Yeah, go
Shall I
for it.
lead off?
Hit me with my team is bad speech.
10 out of 10 on style, baby. You have
All right, let's go.
10 out of 10 on style for quad weather alone. Also, Primarina is here.
Yes. I do have 2 of the 3 Alola starters, your favorites.
It's true. Surprisingly, I actually give this a fairly solid score. I give it an 8 out of 10 on versatility and weakness. I think Defense Deoxys and Excadrill are going to put in a lot of work, Defense Deoxys especially. I think that you kind of have a lot of the tools you need to do everything.
Yeah, kind of, unironically.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of clear weakness. The weather's kind of almost like balance out some of your biggest weaknesses. Just like fire and water, I feel like solid fire and waters are an issue, but you can kind of cancel that out with the weathers. Or you can also potentially boost them, but like a good fire water core
It's one big
against
50-50.
you is the biggest issue you have, I think. Like, but you have a 6 out of 10, maybe even 5 out of 10 on pain. Like, Defense Deoxys and Excadrill are scary Pokemon to prep against, especially when you have Hippowdon and Sand as, like, Hippowdon too, but you have to actually use it well, which you can do, but, like, it's best used stally.
Specs Hippowdon, baby.
Yeah, like, Excadrill, Hippowdon, Defense Deoxys are scary to prep against. I do not care about a single other thing on your team prep-wise. Like, I'm prepared to just, like, vaguely throw a team together that I would throw on ladder without even looking at your team, and I feel like I'd do mostly fine.
Oh my god, that hurts. It's true. It's probably true. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Deoxys' defense is pretty good for his team, and like Excadrill and Sand is also really scary. But yeah, I think you still have to respect like Primarina, and like that's probably like
Pokemon. I exaggerate when I say I don't care about.
Yeah.
Like Mega Absol, I think you have to respect to a fair degree, depending on your team. I don't know if I have to, since I have like Mega. Well, I guess I have to respect Sucker Punch, but like there's a lot of like your Mega Absol, you only potentially have to respect.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Mega Absol's pretty flexible. I can do whatever I want with it.
Oh, for sure. I think Mega Absol is very good and something you have to respect, much like Primarina, but it is not Excadrill, Hippowdon, and Defense Deoxys.
Yeah, I think like the thing with this team, like I think it has enough defensive options. I feel like because like, but it also has a lot of speed and offense too. Like this team is actually probably the fastest team I've drafted, which is weird because it's not like especially fast, but. Like Crobat, Raichu, Ninetales, and Mega Absol. That's 4 Pokemon over base 100 speed or up, which I think is a record for me. So I'm excited to use it. But yeah, like, yeah, it definitely would have been better, I think, if I like swapped out like Vanillix for like a different tier 4 or like like whatever. But like, hey, we're gonna go with Quad Weather and we're gonna have fun doing it. So yeah, I'd probably put my own team somewhere near the bottom if I had to.
Yeah, it's bottom 3 for me. I think I can put in work, but it is one of the least intimidating teams.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. Yup. Sad but true. Yeah, let's go to Kappa's team. This is another very scary team.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. It has Finny. I hate it.
Yup. Finny and Halucha.
Finny Halucha,
And
like
Skeptile,
obviously, Finny Halucha,
technically.
Skeptile, Mega Venusaur, like everything on this team makes me angry to look at. Linoon has use, but it is probably the only thing I don't care about that much, and I'm still scared of it.
Oh my god. Yup. There's no yeah, like Lanoon is probably the worst thing on this team, but even then, like you don't want to lose to Bellydrum extreme speed, right? So,
Yeah.
like I think this is the other contender for strongest Firewater Grass, um,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Um, not the best Fairy Dragon Steel. Do you even have a Fairy?
Finny.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay,
Finny
Fairy
is very
Dragon
cool.
Steel.
Yeah.
I think I like
Um.
Metagross a lot. I think
Yeah.
Dracovish is actually hurt a little bit by this team. Like my biggest issue with this team, and it's like a minor issue because you can easily play around it, is that Feeny hurts both Dracovish. Dracovish's outrages, and Mega Venusaur can't really put anything to sleep. But that doesn't matter when
Mhm.
you could proc like Hawlucha, like Misty Seed, and Sceptile Misty Seed, and just prevent status from ever being a thing on your team, which is really good. He has plenty of he has like not plenty actually. He has like two removal options. I guess that's one of the weaknesses, huh?
Yeah. The two biggest notes I put was that your only fast offense, really good fast offense, is Halucha and Sceptile. And like Jolteon's good. I love Jolteon. I used it a lot, but like you're relying on Scarf and setup or Unburden setup for most of your speed, and that's a little iffy. And
Hmm.
you have really uninteresting removal because I've talked about it before. I think Finny is one of the scariest Pokemon in the current meta in general, let alone in draft. But you're gonna be stuck using defog on it a lot, and that kind of hurts it because like Cryogonal is good for a rapid spinner,
Hmm.
and you have Halucha for defog, and
Yeah.
then you have like you're gonna be putting a lot of work on Cryogonal as spinner if you want to get the most out of your team, and that's not great. Like you have the option to bring two other Pokemon that don't want to be defoggers a lot of the time as defoggers,
Hmm.
and that works great. But your prime, what I, in my opinion, is your best hazard removal is Cryogonal, and that's not the best.
True. I agree with that. I mean, despite that, though, this team is still very scary. I think, especially in prep. Like, what'd you give this? What are your scores for this?
10, 8, 9, 10 for versatility, because again, Finny is, I hate Finny.
Hmm.
8 for weakness. I think I forgot to put some things. I said it was, I had it listed as Fire Weak, but I think when I put it in the draft builder, I forgot that Mega Venusaur would be listed as weak to fire when it's not.
True, and ice as
It's
well.
Yeah, same with Mamoswine. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
not entirely correct, but I think a good fire sweeper still they're still neutral to fire. So
Hmm.
a good fire sweeper, like you have Finny, Dracovic, and Incineroar to counter out the fire. So against something like my Blacephalon, you're going to be relying a lot on them, and that's not a bad thing to rely on. But
Yeah. I mean, it's
I
similar. There
still
was
think
like,
it's
yeah.
I still think it's an unfortunate point of weakness that I think there's a few types that are going to cause issues. 9 out of 10 for pain. Finny alone on top of every. I should have made that a 10. Finny,
Yup.
Venusaur, Halucha. Frickin', I'm officially a 10 out of 10.
It's
I hate this.
officially a
I hate
10.
looking at this. I hate looking at this team.
Yup. It's very scary. What's the style score?
8.5. Lots of good Pokemon. I like the colors in combination again. Lots of good Pokemon, lots of good combos, cute things.
Mm-hmm.
Linoon, Jolteon. I was gonna say Incineroar, but I might be an outlier for calling that cute. I'm a Lola fan.
Alola
Um,
fans rise up.
yeah. Lots of weird things like I don't know. This one it's unfortunate because I had to do my style scores looking into draft pickers and I didn't save anybody's team, so now I'm just looking at 11 Magikarps.
Hey man, that's a 10 out of 10 in
10
my
out of
book.
10.
Oh man.
That's all I got.
It just needs a little Mega Gyarados as its leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go over to Chronos and the GWS Gladiators. Um this is a team that I feel like was specifically drafted in half of it to like counter my team because we are facing each other twice. Oh boy. He did make a couple of pre-week 1 trades after the draft.
Yeah,
He traded, yeah.
I must have put in my oh no, I guess that's not. I'm sorry. I just noticed that I think I put in one of these mons wrong because I think I forgot to put in Raichu Alola when I was looking at stuff.
It's funny you mentioned Raichu Alola because like I don't. That's the one mon on this team where I'm like I have no idea what this is doing here at
Oh,
all.
I'm 100% agreed there. The only reason I bring it up because the one note I have here is that it's kind of psychic weak. Your best psychic like
Resist is
I,
Raichu.
is Raichu and Crawdon, and like
Oh yeah, he has Chronos,
Crawdon's
yeah.
fairly frail. Basically,
And
what
slow.
I'm thinking is like, I don't know if I have to fight this, but all I could think looking at this team was like, if I bring Scarf and Didi, I clean up.
As long as Crawdon's gone, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, once Crawdon's gone, Scarf and Didi just cleans up. Then obviously that's a weird specific thing, but like, that's my biggest thing about it really.
Any fast psychic type? Yeah.
Fast psychic type. You have Lele in your conference, not division, but you'll still have to deal with that.
Even Kadabra would clean up on this team.
I gave it a 10 out of 10 for versatility, though.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Dragapult, Landorus, Incarnate, Weezing, Zeraora, all super flexible Pokemon. Darmanitan isn't super flexible, but Scarf First Band is a big question mark. Suncor with Victory Bell, Mega Y, Comfey being here is nice. Hitmontop, like nothing feels useless.
Yeah, except for Raichu Alola.
Raichu Alola is nice. I don't think it's useless. It's definitely the weakest link, but I think that as a fast... Oh, wait, no, he has Zeraora.
He has Zeraora. Like, what is this doing?
That's weird. That's very weird.
It's a psychic resist. Because I don't even think Tapu Koko isn't even in this conference. So, like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
that's the one pick from. Like,
I think Bronzong is a tier 4. If Raichu is a tier 4, you should swap that for Bronzong.
Yeah, I would. I would.
If you can do that, that would like put your team hugely better.
Yeah, he doesn't have a steel type either. Yeah, just grab Bronzong.
Yeah.
Straight up. Yeah.
7 out of 10 for weakness, 8 out of 10 for pain because Dragapult, Zeraora, Charwai are annoying as hell to fight against.
Yeah. I think the biggest strength of this team is that he has 2 extremely fast and scary mons in Dragapult and Zeraora. Those 2 alone are going to be pains for people.
Yep. Big time.
And then everything else is kind of just like icing on the cake, but then again, the everything else isn't extremely strong here. Like, Weezinggaller's annoying. Landorus Eye is good, but it can't run Sheer Force, which is bad. Like, that's another thing. It's like, oh, if I bring Hippowdon against him, he can use, like, Sand Force, Lando Eye, this team lacks a bit of synergy just because it feels like it was drafted in part to counter Quad Weather. And that's my biggest complaint with it, because, like, the first 2 picks are great. Everything else is, like, it exists, I think. Like, good on... Some of these things are good on paper in a vacuum, but otherwise, right? That's my take.
8 out of 10 for style.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I have no additional comment. That's all I got for this
one. My god. Understandable. Let's go to our third new coach of the season, then. You had things to say about this team. The Chesapeake Chandeleurs, and Mega Caesar is bad. No offense, but Mega Caesar is bad. But yeah, go for it.
I hope you're good at using Mega Scissor because you are bringing that every week or dying to Stealth Rocks. That's your only hazard removal, and half of your team is weak to rocks. I hope you like Boots, and I hope you like Mega Scissor, because if you're not prepared to use both of those, you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah, this team, you've kind of opened my eyes a bit, but this team kind of gives me flashbacks to the Mega Caesar team that like I'm using right now, where it's like Mega Caesar is forced into doing things it doesn't want to do on this team, which is really not ideal for it. Like you have like Keldio's a really good partner for it. I think there are better water types to partner with. Ideally, you want to partner with a water type that could heal itself, in my opinion, because then you have a pretty good defensive core of self-healing there. And also
Yeah.
Keldeo is just your fastest thing. No, sorry, Frostlass is your fastest thing, but it's Frostlass. Like
Yeah.
this team lacks power outside of Mega Caesar, and like you said, it's gonna be defogging and like, eh.
Yeah. I said another thing is that Frostlass is the weirdest pick here. I think the best way I put it is, as always, there had to have been a better tier 4. Maybe
Like,
there was, like, maybe
yeah,
your favorite was gone at the time, because I remember the only one, like, every other time I said this, I just was like, I'm sure there's a better tier 4. Maybe not. I'll assume. This was such a weird pick that I specifically checked if it was your final pick. It was your fourth to last pick.
yeah.
The best synergy it has on this team is the fact that it can run Bright Powder Snow Cloak with a Lola Ninetale.
True. Sad but true. I think the other thing now that I'm thinking about it that it does do is like spin blocking, but even then there's Dust Warrior is probably better for that. Like,
Yeah, there's definitely a better Ghost if you want
'cause
Ghost.
there's just
A
so
better
much.
Spiker. There's got to
Yeah.
have been a better fast option. Maybe not a fast option. Fast options are a little iffy, as I learned
Yeah.
last season.
Yup. It's just like, yeah, just too much overlap with the little Ninetales. It's like one speed point faster. It's actually one attack point weaker, but like, I don't.
Galv, I would,
Yeah.
unrelatedly, just quick before I forget, Galv would be a lot nicer here if your only hazard room wasn't defog.
True, because this team would really like webs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna get rid of your own webs
Mm-hmm.
fairly often, unless literally everything has boots, and then you're terrified of knockoff if everything has boots.
The other thing about this team is that Galvantula is like one of its best offensive threats too. Like, like,
I mean, Multi-Scalar Agility Nasty Plot is right
I
there,
mean,
but
yeah. Can't set up agility too much if rocks are on the field constantly.
that's true. And if
But yeah,
you get forced out, yeah, that's not great for it.
because like this team is like, okay, Victini's like the only thing on this team where I'm like, I'm scared of this. That's it. Like that's it.
Yep.
And I think Keldeo's extremely overrated. Like, I
I think
I
Caldeo
don't
is
like
really
it.
good, but you have to properly have a team to support it, and I don't think that this is
The
that team.
the thing I don't like about Keldeo, and this is like sort of a tangent, but like the thing I don't like about Keldeo is it doesn't have its only ice coverage is Icy Wind, and as a fast water type, that's not really a good thing. And I think
Yeah, that's
people
fair.
undervalue that. But anyways, yeah, like this team just feels like it has things that it can do across the board, but nothing jumps out at you at like, wow, this is scary. And like you said, the shared weaknesses just make it even more of a like afterthought to like prep for anything in specific when you can just throw up rocks and be like, cool,
Bye.
bye. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Anything else to add about this team?
The actual scores:
Yes.
9 out of 10 versatility. It's great. I think you have a great number of options. Nothing like other than Frostlass, everything I think has solid use. Again, maybe nothing majorly powerful, but like I can see every single one of these Pokemon being brought, even Frostlass, as much as I'm ragging on it. 6
Mhm.
out of 10 weakness, maybe 5, because again, just bring rocks. Just bring. That's not even bringing the fact. I bring up rocks. What if this person fights a good Lycanroc? Like a Lycanroc will eat through this team pretty solidly. Like a solid rock offensive Pokemon eats through the team too. 8 out of 10 on Pain, because if you don't have a good fire type, or if your fire type, like Mega Scizor, you still have to respect, even if we're both think it's overrated. Alolan Ninetales Veil is annoying. I am Victini is something you have to respect, and Galv, Moltres, and Trud are all things that I think you have to respect. That might be a little bit of personal opinion still.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jordigan's really good for this team, yeah, and in general.
Yeah.
I like Jordigan a lot.
9 out of
Galvantula,
10 style.
yeah. Fair enough.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, yeah, I pretty much agree with you. Like, Jordan Galvantula are like, I think they're pretty good. But on this team, at least for Galvantula, I don't think it's as good.
Yeah.
It needs more support around it and Mega Caesar for it to do what it wants to for this team, I think. Which is setting webs and then spamming Thunder, I guess. So yeah,
Love
we
how
are.
it looks. 9 out of 10 for sure. Good Pokemon.
Mhm.
Good
I
stylistic.
I like a
Pokemon.
lot of these Pokemon stylistically for sure. And with that, we're moving on to the Last division. Yeah. I just want to say I love you, Tier4U. I think this is I've seen maybe like 5 or 6 teams of yours. I think this is far and away the weakest, and I know you said you were gonna try and do some fun stuff, but yeah, I like a lot of these ones individually. I think his defense is actually really good.
Horrifyingly good defense.
But his only offense is like Aerodactyl and like Thunderous, where both are pretty similar weaknesses. What do you have to say about that? Or say anything, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
The best way I can put it is I am incredibly sad that I don't get to fight you, because I would love to force you into running Torterra, because an electric type eats through this team. Just destroys it. This is like the ideal Regieleki week for me.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
But yeah, pretty much agreed. I've only seen a few of your teams, and I do think it's still one of the better teams in this current league, but I also think that it's definitely the weakest I've seen from you, of the few teams I've seen. I gave it a 10 out of 10 for versatility, because I do think everything on this team has use. Torterra and Swallow are probably the two things that I'm the most iffy on. Everything else I think has fantastic use potential, but I think I'm sure Torterra and Swallow are going to prove, you using Torterra and Swallow are going to prove me wrong on that, on those two. 8 out of 10 on weakness, like I said, good electric types, like if you fight a better electric type than Regieleki or something like, I guess a better electric type than Regieleki that doesn't just have electric types. Umbreon and Slowking Galar can wall better, but like still you're gonna be a little bit electric weak all the same. So
yeah, that's definitely a big weakness here.
Pain is an 8.5. You have the fastest, highest mega speed tier in Mega Aerodactyl, and it has Dragon Dance. It's horrible. Buzzwole is horrifying in my opinion to pair against. I'm still upset about how weirdly hard Kecleon is last season.
The thing is, Buzzwole's like a perfect partner for it. Buzzwole and Slowking are perfect partners for it, because you have a lot of good fighting types, which or I guess 2 good bulky fighting types. I guess Quillfish too, and Mimikyu. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, there's room for Kecleon to do a lot of work here. I think that's a very good. It's honestly one of the more scary mons on this team.
Yeah. 8.5 style, like a bunch of good Pokemon, good like vibes. The birds are terrifying. The bugs, the weird dark vibes of Umbreon and Slowking Galar and Mimikyu, like that's a nice little vibes. I realize vibes is such a weird thing to describe these 3 birds, Swallow, Aerodactyl, and Corviknight. Knight. I just realized you have 3 flying types. No wonder. 4 if Thunderous Eye. That's so weird. And again, Quillfish baby, 10 out of 10. 8.5 for the team, 10 out of 10 for Quillfish and Torterra.
Yes, I respect that. Yeah, I mean, I just think like this team is gonna be a lot harder to prep for than it'll actually like in practice that it'll actually like perform in. But I do think like
yeah,
the just trying to break through this team is gonna be very problematic, especially when the threat of Mega Aerodactyl in the back is there. And hey, he's already 1-0. He proved some of the doubters wrong. So
me in the middle, I think like it was like we were like almost in the middle of talking about Aerodactyl.
And then I saw that the live link. Yup. Aerodactyl just said, "Hello, I'm gonna Dragon Dance and get 3 kills." Whew, unfortunate.
Ready for next?
Yeah, let's go over to Warsaw, and yeah, this is the team that just got Mega Aerodactyled. I like a lot of these ones individually. I'm not sure how they fit together on the team, and that's kind of my like expert analysis on it. Like, yeah.
I think I like the team. I like all of the mons on it. I like Komala in theory. I'm a little worried you're not actually using it. It's a lot less bulky than I would like it to be when I used it for the gym challenge, for instance. As I learned the hard way when Kappa destroyed it every time.
Oh my god.
Other than the once. My biggest I think my scores sum up my opinion on the team really well. 9 out of 10 for versatility. Lots of options on everything. Like, again, as much Kamala's a little weird, but everything feels super useful offhand. 9 out of 10 for Pain, because Mega Diancie, Hoopa to a degree, Azelf, Nidoking, Infernape, Mandibuzz, like all of those Pokemon, kind of a pain in the ass to actually fight and prep for. Mandibuzz, Diancie, Azelf especially. This isn't towards my point, but 9 out of 10 in style, all good Pokemon, good vibes together. 5 out of 10 on weakness. 5 out of 10 on weakness for that question. This is in division with Tapu Lele, and if there was anything that could eat through this team, like, it's Tapu Lele and Mega Gardevoir. If you had Mega Gardevoir division on somebody else's team, I would almost count you out of the playoffs.
I mean, also consider the fact that Mega Aerodactyl also destroys this team.
Yeah, apparently Mega Aerodactyl destroys your team.
Because this team has no Edgequake answer.
Yeah.
Because Azelf is frail, Hoopa is frail, Komala doesn't really count.
If a ground rock type gets
you need to run Shuka Berry on something.
A ground rock type with a rock polish that has enough power destroys the team.
Yeah, and then like you said, Lele Gardevoir, like Mr. Mime.
Also, nobody has the best option for this, but you have 2 water resists, Empoleon and Dragalge, and a lot of your team is weak to water. Water also crushes your team. Like, you have
and your best answers to that are like Thunderbolt, Azelf, basically, because Zicovolt's too slow in theory, and like Nidoking is also probably too slow in theory.
Yeah, it's a good team with a lot of good mons, but it also has like a weakness to fairy, water, ground, and psychic, kind of. Not really psychic, but psychic with fairy specifically.
Yeah. In Warsaw's...
the best types of the current game.
True. In Warsaw's defense, he did end up taking this team over like halfway through the draft. And like I think he was able to change some things, but he did keep some of the mons here, like Nidoking and Mega Diancie he kept. I think he switched out like he switched out like whatever the tier 1 was for Hoopa though. I'm not the world's biggest Hoopa fan. I think it's too slow and too physically frail to be useful, especially on a team that like it doesn't like its only slow pivot is Vikavolt, and I guess Mandibuzz. Yeah. But like that's the thing. If you want Hoopa to succeed, you need that slow pivot for it to come in safely on like a Slowmon and Hyperspace Fury things, right? Yeah. Like I don't know.
I think it's fairly bulky, but it is
very
especially easy to counter.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, it's like a very niche usage. Like, it's the kind of thing that I would not, I don't know when he picked it, but it's the kind of thing where I would pick it late if I saw that it was really good for my division.
Yeah, like a Dracovish.
Yeah, like a Dracovish deal.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this thing. I mean, I hope you prove me wrong and use it well, because like I would never draft this thing. Like, don't get me wrong, it hits so hard, but as we find out, if all you're good for is hitting very hard, there are answers to that. So, yeah. I don't know. Anything else to add about this team?
I gave it the 9 out of 10 for style, so no.
Sounds good. Let's look at the London Lucarios and Coach Coolio. I think this is a strong team with one caveat. Spectre exists. And yeah. I don't like the fact that Spectre exists for this team because, like, I don't like it's my same issue that I have with Regieleki. You bring a normal type. That's it. Like, yeah. Spectre's slightly better because it gets Dark Pulse, but, like, yeah, and Mega Gallade does help it a lot because it has the fighting to hit the Dark types that Spectre gets walled by. Dark and Normals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, like, I just don't like picking a tier 1 that's so one-dimensional. And I think it hinders his team a little bit. Although, on paper, it is very good.
I think it's one of the 3 best teams. I completely understand what you're saying about Spectrier, but I think that, especially if he uses it well, that issue is not as big a deal. Because as somebody who ran what I call budget Spectrier Poltergeist last season.
Yup.
which they budget is a rude way of putting it because it's better in some respects, worse in others because it needs the turn of setup compared to Spectrier who can just go. But it actually has coverage over Spectrier that is decent in stored power, Giga Drain, Psychic if you want to run a non-setup version for some reason. But I think the team is really good. I understand why Spectrier, you think Spectrier holds it back, but I think like Clefable, Mega Gallade, there's something else that I thought did really well with everything else.
I think he made the best possible team to pair with Spectrier because like he has very good Firewater Grass, Magmortar, Gastrodon, and Roserade. And then his Fairy Dragon Steel is good too. Goodra, Clefable, and Caesar. That's pretty scary.
I think the one thing this team might be missing might be another. Oh no! Wait, Mega Galate's the fighting type. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Another fighting type. Okay.
And Clefable is also another addition to help with the dark types.
Yeah, for darks and so.
And Electros is a very good tier 4. This thing is insane, dude. Like,
yeah.
I hope Electros pops off.
Butterfree and Magmortar feel like the weakest links.
Yeah, Magmortar is just a fire type.
I really feel more that way about Magmortar than Butterfree. I actually like Butterfree here more than Magmortar.
Butterfree could be a very interesting quiver dance. Like you still like in the back of your mind, you never want to lose to like Butterfree. Compound Ice Sleep Powder is nice as well. Magmortar does get teleport. Is granted it's not bulky enough to really get it off.
Take lots of hits or recover from it, but it is something.
But it exists. It also is just a fire type for it. Yeah.
It's definitely got weaknesses, but like 10 out of 10 versatility, 9 out of 10 weakness, 9 out of 10 pain because Spectrier is here and forces Spectrier.
Forces you to just like a Lucky. Yeah.
And Scizor means that you are almost always bringing a answer to both of those Pokemon.
That's true.
And it has plenty of options to help both of those. It's 8 out of 10 style. 8 out of 10 style, though. I respect the Butterfree. I like a lot of the Pokemon here. Not the most interesting overall, though.
Fair enough.
I like a lot of individual Pokemon, and if there was a little more cohesive, it'd be a solid 9 or 10, I think.
Oh, damn. You can't beat Quad Weather just yet. Maybe one day after you make your trades. But yeah, you ready to move on to the last team?
Let's do it.
All right. Big Shane and the Silvally Storm. This team is really busted.
I hate this team. It's my least favorite team.
Because of that Chansey on it, right?
Oh, if it just had Chansey, that'd be fine. But like, look at this.
It's actually insane. Like, how did we allow this man to get this team? Actually, though.
If I had gone before him, I would have grabbed your strike before him. So I would have not allowed it. But
yeah, how far did that even end up falling?
Probably.
Pretty late, I think. It was like definitely not the top 3, I think.
Drafting recap. Hold on, I haven't. No, exactly 3rd.
Oh, okay. Well, that's 2 picks too late. 3 picks too late, or whatever. Yeah. Oh man.
Slowbro, Salazzle, Chansey, Mega Aggron, Stall. I hate it. Blastoise to a lesser degree for pivoting.
And Shell Smash.
And Shell Smash.
Teleport Chansey to Shell Smash Blastoise is just no thank you.
Lele, as previously mentioned, is a great Pokemon, and effing destroys one of your division members. 9 out of 10 versatility. Everything I think has
really
least use I see is
okay. Oh, that's fair.
That's fair. Alola.
Yeah. I think Silvally bumps it. Silvally kind of is like a Mew factor to me, but then again, yeah, a lot of these other things are just doing the same thing most weeks, which I guess is one of the biggest downsides of this team, right?
Yeah.
Like Slowbro's doing the same thing, or she was doing the same thing. Like
the versatility is a weird because I think it has a lot of options, but I think that the strategy for the team is so consistent that you just have to like figure out how you dismantle whatever core works best against your team. And that's not easy, but like the versatility, it's a predictable unpredictable. It's like, like it's going to be something like Urshifu, Lele, 3 Stallmons, and then whatever is whatever a Pokemon that either that fits best to complete the offensive or defensive core best.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the thing, right? Like those that alone is like even just like a straight up like OU ladder team like
Yeah.
and that's like I guess it's a weakness, but it doesn't really matter when like because I don't really see him ever bringing Noivern. Like it's his dragon, so maybe like I don't know if he needs a dragon type or Dugtrio Lola as well.
Sometimes you need fast offense, in my opinion, and
Yeah,
that
that's
will do
fair.
the job.
And Alolan Dugtrio does cover that as well. But yeah,
Might get taunt.
I think it does get taunt. Yeah, so fast taunt and stuff. Yeah, I yeah. I think this team kind of feels like Pulsey's team, where like it's very top heavy, but like the thing is like this top heavy is better than her top heavy,
Yeah.
and then the stuff after it is still kind of useful. Like Silvally and Blastoise and Salazzle are all very good 6 options, whereas Pulsey's team is just like a Swampert exists, I guess. So yeah, I definitely think this team is either, like I said, this one or Midi is probably the best team in my opinion.
Yep. I guess the only other thing, I'll go through the rest of my score. I
Mm-hmm.
was saving one for last, but just quick. I guess it's a little knockoff week, not in a bad way, but like
Yeah.
the defensive cores can be broken up by knockoff if you predict
Mm-hmm.
wrong or something runs a rogue knockoff uh, like knockoff Clefable, I guess. Is
Gengar,
my best
Whimsicott,
example.
yeah.
Yeah, like Aggron, Silvally, and Urshifu don't care that much about knockoff, so they're pretty
Iron
consistent to
Super
swap
doesn't
in.
care, yeah.
Yeah, Aggron super doesn't care, but like knocking off Slowbro, Chansey, Rotom just because it's weak to it, or Lele all will hurt a lot, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 8.5 for weakness because of that. It's not super weak to anything, honestly. I might have wanted to make that a 9. I'm sure if I had the draft picker up, I would have a better reasoning for that, but I forgot what it was. I loathfully give it a 9 out of 10 style. It's got good style. Vibes. The Valley is here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
their Thug Trio, Alola, just oozes style. Like, this is a good looking team. I hate to admit it.
It
Chansey
is.
with Lele and
Team Pink, yeah, pretty much.
11 out of 10 for Pain. I
Yes.
never want to fight this team. I hope you don't make it to playoffs, and I hope that if you do, I don't.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish you luck, and I'm sorry to say it, but my god, I do not want to fight this team at
A
all.
100%, yeah. So, yeah, do you have anything else to add about this team? The scariest team, probably?
No, I'm done looking at it. I'm looking at my own team to
Understandable.
make
Hey, at
myself
least at
feel
least you're
better.
looking at what 11 Magikarp, so it's slightly better on the ice.
Yeah, true.
So I guess very quickly I'll just like go through my rankings, right?
Do it.
Yeah, so I think that Midi and Big Shane are 1 and 2 in no particular order. I think you can like flip them around as you can see in the tier list below here. Then I think ASDF is alone in a tier of his own. Um in like the third place team. And then Lucky, basically 3, 4, and 5 are all, there's enough separation for them to be in their own tier with ASDF's team, Lucky's team, and Kappa's team. And then, Coolio's team is kind of like a big drop off, like a big-ish drop off from Kappa's, just because I really don't like Spectre. But you may have convinced me to maybe put it up on Kappa's level. But I still think, regardless, it's clearly like number 6 in some capacity. Maybe you can make a case it's better than Kappa's. I don't know. I wouldn't put it above Lucky's though, personally. And then
Hmm.
Chronos, I think this is probably the best drop I've seen from him. Um, it's weird because like I wasn't really super keen on his team when we were talking about it, but that's the thing. After Coolio, I think the team quality goes down a lot. Um, so I have Chronos, T4U, Bucks, and then Warsaw as the next 4. And Chronos, T4U, and Bucks are kind of in their own like tier, and then Zelda, your team, the Mega Caesar team, which I should probably drop. At least I should probably put Pulsey ahead of it now that I'm looking. But those 4 teams kind of feel like they're in like the same kind of power level. But now that I'm thinking about it, like the Caesar team, like you opened my eyes to the Stealth Rock, so I'd probably drop them down at least to
Mhm.
the very bottom of that. Then I have like me and Goose. This might be too low for Goose. That's probably one of the teams I'm probably gonna be the most wrong about. Cause like I also don't know how he plays, but like yeah, what's the team with yeah, this is the one with the Zygarde in your division. I
Yeah.
I I don't know, like it does nothing like screams out about me as being good at all, but like it
I'll be
exists.
honest. Part of the reason I think it's going to be so good is just because Zygarde is just ridiculous. I
Yeah.
think Zygarde is so dumb.
Like that's one of the teams where I could be like, all right, this might be like somewhere in the 8 to 9 range. Like you can make a case for it. And I guess
Yep.
like it like D plus and C, like yeah, like you can easily bump like if I'm slightly wrong about it, like the D plus goes up to a C, that's automatically the ninth best team. So,
Mhm.
and then I think sadly, I feel bad because I told Cactus that I don't think he was gonna be 16th, but I think he's 16th. As I'm looking at it. I thought I was gonna be 16th before I actually looked at all this, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think your 1-2 punch is really scary, and then everything after it just kind of exists. So yeah, I think that about covers it up for me. Here's the rankings in both the tier format and the ranking format one last time, so you could look at it. Um, but yeah, do you have anything else to add?
No, I didn't do a 1 to 16 rankings or
Or I
anything.
mean in general, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
Fair
just
enough,
wanted to
fair enough.
explain that
Yeah.
I probably could have gotten around to it, but I it's very hard for me to do that sometimes because a lot of the times I try to like how good are you within your own division? How good is your team again in certain things? Like if you're weak to rocks, but nobody drafted rocks, for instance, for
Mhm.
like that's an obviously ridiculously specific outlier, but like in that kind of scenario, does like do you still put them at low down if they're super weak to rocks if no one has rocks? No, in my opinion. There's like a lot of matchup things, and I think that like going over like the general score has just worked better for me. I am mostly agreed. Like obviously, I disagreed with some of them. Like
For sure.
I,
Yeah.
I just said with Goose, I think they should be a fair bit higher. I
Yeah.
think Shonen is absolutely number one, but
Yeah.
I see why you put MIDI
Mhm.
for for number one,
Yeah, I mean,
stuff
I
like
think you
that.
might have convinced me that Shane's number one actually. Yeah.
Yeah, again, there's something to be said for a team that just makes you really
True. Makes you don't not want to
hurt to
play the
hate.
game. Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say that so much, but like, God, there's so much stall on that team.
Yup. It exists.
Uh,
It
yeah,
exists to sit
but
in your face.
I I think overall, even though I was probably hard on teams, like everybody had pretty solid teams overall.
Yeah. I don't think there's like a uh, it's weird because I said like the majority of the teams in my rankings are like C and below, but like that just means they're average. Like they're not like bad. Like there's no team
Yeah,
that's like aggressively bad. They're just mostly aggressively average in my opinion, with like a few standout ones.
yeah.
But yeah, I
Looking
think that
forward
about
to the
yeah.
season.
So am I. I'm looking forward to quad weathering my way to last place.
You've got this. I believe in you.
I believe in your Brion as well. But yeah,
Thank you.
if you guys have made it to the end, thank you so much for watching, and
Yes.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
let us know. I'm curious what you agree with or disagree with, or anything like that, because the more opinions I hear, the happier I become. So yeah, uh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you this for the billionth time, but is there anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Nope.
I'm all good. I'm
All right.
yeah.
So yeah, thanks again, and we will probably see you like mid-season or something when we update these rankings with Coach
Yeah.
Skill and record in two.
And weird trades when I see that the Zarude is free now because oh god, I'm so upset that Zarude freed up after like week 0. I wanted that. Oh well.
All right, so I
We'll
mean,
see.
cue outro with Zarude Sandstorm. Goodbye.